gun that one.
All right, I think that worked out in the end.
All right.
See, we don't edit this show. You get it as live as we make it. So. What's my speed round?
All right. You have a very interesting speed round, and it involves Sam.
What?
Like me, Sam?
Yeah,
or
you,
like
Sam.
his brother, Sam?
No, you, Sam.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
Steve, you're.
Should I leave?
No, leave. Go to
Come
the
back,
soundproof
see if you
room. We're gonna ask you intimate questions about each other.
All right.
I wanted to do a choose your own adventure story with you, Steve.
Okay.
So to get your path within the film, Sam, I'm going to do a speed round with you to get the template for this choose your own adventure film that Steve's going to be a part of.
Wait, so I'm doing speed round now?
Yes, you are.
You're doing speed round.
Sweet.
I'm going to go grab a cup of coffee.
Oh
Okay,
my
so I'm
God.
doing a speed round with you,
Okay.
and your answers are going to set up Steve. So,
Okay.
uh,
Man, I got to do improv before this thing. Now I got to do my own speed round.
I know you got to do improv all over
Totally
the
off
place.
the-
Good thing we warmed up together.
Now you know.
All right, so here we go. So we're gonna do a movie, and so Sam, I need a setting for this movie.
Egypt.
Okay, so we're in Egypt, and what kind of genre is this movie gonna be?
Western.
Ooh, so it's gonna be a Western movie in Egypt, okay? And who is the main character of this movie?
Tommy the cat.
Tommy the cat in a Western in Egypt. And who is the villain, and what does the villain want?
Villain is Harvey the mouse,
Harvey the mouse.
and he wants the cat dead because the cat is terrorizing him.
Okay. All right. Starting to sound like an itchy and scratchy cartoon. And finally, what is the resolution of this film?
The cat and the mouse become friends and live happily ever after.
Okay, so that's a twist on the itchy and scratchy.
Yes. Hey,
There you go. Okay. All right. So.
that was my first speed round, by the way.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. Steve, you are. Yeah.
I
Go
can
ahead.
come back now.
Yeah. You
Okay.
come back in.
All
Yeah.
right.
Come back into the room. Welcome. Steve, welcome back to the room. And you are Tom the cat. Now, once upon a time, there was Tom Cat, and he lived in Egypt. He didn't live in Egypt, but he was vacationing there from the Mediterranean. He was very suave, sort of James Bondish gunslinger. So once he shows up into town, it's a very small village, and there's a little tribal war going on that he gets driven into. So do you interfere with the civil war, or do you go on your merry way?
I go on my merry way.
Okay. You go on your merry way. Hell, there needed 5, so help me keep track of this. So that's the first decision.
That's one,
So
okay.
That's one.
First
Okay.
decision.
So he decides to carry on his merry way. But while he is on his way out of town, he runs into Gary the rhinoceros? Yes. And he confronts him, and he accuses him of being a stranger into town, and he thinks he started the Civil War, so he's picking a fight with him. He's sort of the evil warlord of the town. So he confronts him, and they pick a fight. How do you defeat the rhinoceros?
Can this get really bloody or?
Yeah, whatever you want. It's your story.
I grab him by the horn. I whip myself around on top, pull out my gun, shoot it in the air. He goes rampaging off. I jump off right before he goes off a cliff.
All right, excellent. So he goes down the cliff into a bloody mess. Well, he happened to have seen that is Lucy the hawk, who goes back and reports to her boss, the mouse. What's the mouse's name, Sam, here?
Harvey.
Harvey. I think.
Harvey, yeah, Harvey the mouse. He tells him that there's this badass tomcat who's rolled into Egypt and kicked the ass out of the
rhinoceros. We're getting our animals mixed up.
whatever, and knocked him off a cliff, and it was a bloody mess, and you don't want to be there. So of course he's pissed off. So he decides that he sends the hawk to take you down. So Hawk, what's the hawk's name? Gary?
I didn't give it. I didn't
We
give
didn't
it.
give the hawk.
I didn't give
I
hawk.
gave it a name.
You gave him the name.
Lucy,
Yeah,
thank you.
Lucy the
Lucy
hawk.
comes back. Lucy comes back to pick a fight with Tom the cat. Well, now, Tom the cat was bathing naked in the river, and all of a sudden, here comes this hawk, and it comes from out of nowhere, like the plane in North by Northwest, and it comes buzzing down. So how do you defeat the hawk?
I throw stones at it. Obviously, my guns are sitting over by the bank if
Yeah.
I'm naked in the river.
Right.
So I just start
Good
grabbing
call.
rocks from the bank and throwing at him. And I miss, but scares him, veers off, and Lucy goes flying away.
Oh.
Doesn't think I'm going to defend myself.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's
Yeah.
very forceful, less bloody certainly than the
Yes,
rhinoceros
yeah,
attack.
yeah. At
All
this
right.
point, I'm wishing I vacationed in Hawaii.
Right. So back to the Jennifer Lawrence one that we did last time or whatever. Okay, so what is that? 3 decisions?
three. That's
okay.
three.
So the Hawk goes back to report, and you decide to follow the Hawk. You see that it flies across the canyon, and you see that the mouse's base is on the other side of the canyon. How do you cross the canyon?
I take my lasso. I always have a lasso on me.
Oh,
I'm
you
a
could.
cowboy.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's Western.
A
yeah.
cow cat?
I take my lasso and Lucy the Hawk. I lasso Lucy the Hawk, and in a mad rage, she goes flying, and I hold on for dear life as she flies across the canyon and gets me dropped off the other end.
Good
Ah,
call.
yeah.
All right, so
like that. That's 4.
you land into the base, and for your final decision, you're confronted with a mouse. You have a big fight. You go back and forth, back and forth. You shoot at him. It bounces off the wall. It hit Lucy. Lucy's out of the picture now. He decides he pulls off a piece of the canyon, like those big giant like icicle things that come down.
Okay.
He knocks one down and whacks you, and you go tumbling off the canyon. You're hanging off the cliff for dear life. He comes back and does a typical bad guy. I'm gonna stomp on his fingers and knock him down in the canyon. You're hanging by your last finger. He's looking down at you. He's ready to stomp that last finger. How do you turn the clock around? And you can't grab his foot and fling him off the cliff. Everyone does that. So how do you turn the clock around and defeat the bad guy?
Oh, but we're okay. You know what? I appeal to his emotional side because we've got to be friends in the end on this one.
Oh, true.
So I look at him, and I've got the eyes
Yes.
to where I got the twinkle going on, and
Yes, you do, Steve.
yes, I do. So I look up at him, and I tell him, I only came for a vacation. And I beg for mercy, and I tell him, I will leave your country and never visit again. And that works. Yeah.
So he helps you,
So
and
he helps me. He pulls me up, and
Yep.
he understands that this whole thing's been a misunderstanding, and he invites me to his yacht.
Oh, so you guys get on the yacht, and he finds out that the whole thing was a misunderstanding, that you didn't start the Civil War. You both actually care about the villagers, and you help them out, and then you guys sailed off into the sunset back to the Mediterranean.
Right. Back to Mediterranean.
Yes.
Where it's here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Woo. Did that ever go in some directions?
That was a speed round like we've never had before.
no.
That was a very long.
It wasn't really speedy.
It wasn't speedy. It was
But
quite the
it was,
story.
Yeah.
it was a story, yes.
There's some
well, it
entertainment
moved
there.
quickly, but it was really.
There's some turns, but that's what
Yeah.
happens when you
Yeah.
have those,
It's-
choose
you
your own
just-
adventure.
I
books.
like
You
that.
never know.
You never know. You never know when you do improv with me when I'm gonna pull out of my
Yeah.
That is
left
for
nostril.
sure.
That
I mean,
is-
that's from experience.
Yes.